All right. Hello, everybody. Hope everybody is going well. This is Le Hulk, and I am going to be the commentator for Soul Blazer Randomizer tournament currently taking place. I hope you are going to enjoy this, as this is pretty hype, at least for me. It looks like we are on. I hope so, at least. Hey, hi everybody. This is the Hulk. We are going to be streaming, just for you guys, a Soul Blazer Randomizer tournament. We are about to do the first match just now. Right, let me get my notes so I can give you more insights about what is going on. So today and tomorrow we are hosting a tournament of Soul Blazer Randomizer. So now we are going to have a four-way race between Amazing Toaster, Lost Core, Kugel Schnaps, and Vevictus. So it's about to start. Stay tuned. Tomorrow we're gonna have another race, in 4 hours, and then 4 hours after that, the third race. And the final will be tomorrow. It's gonna have the first two people of this race, the winner of the next, and the winner of the last one. So final is gonna be a four-way race. So currently we are waiting for people to be ready. All right, I have presented the competition a little bit, so now let's talk about our runners. So who are these guys here just for your enjoyment? We have Kugel Schnaps, who comes from the US, also a runner of Risk of Rain 2. On the right we have Lost Core, one of the favorites. He is actually really good at this, at Soul Blazer. He snapped the record at some point in the main game. He also is very proficient at Super Mario World and Octopath Traveler. We also have another guy from the US, Amazing Toaster, who does a lot of rounders for Zelda 1 and 2, and also has picked up Soul Blazer any percent, so the non-randomized game. And finally we have not an underdog, but someone who is not from the US. He's from Brazil. There is Vevictus, and he is a Super Nintendo enthusiast just like me. He likes games just like Sky Blazer, Demon's Crest, and some others. So all four of them are great runners. Going to be interesting, I hope. So I don't really know when exactly this is supposed to start. Hope pretty soon. Stay tuned. We are close to a start, I think. As we are getting started, let me talk a little bit about the game itself. We are playing a randomized version of Soul Blazer. Soul Blazer is an action RPG on the Super Nintendo from 1992. It's one of my favorite games also. And by the way, incidentally, I'm the guy who made the randomizer for it about 2 years ago. I hope you guys are going to enjoy it. It's a very simple looking, self-explanatory dungeon crawler, so quite sort of a Zelda-like. The randomizer basically swaps out all the items item locations have been completely randomized, as well as the contents of the monster layers, and also the NPCs which are released by monster layers. You're gonna understand what I mean a bit later. Hi, Name Faker. How's it going? So don't worry, I'm going to be the only person commentating because all the other English speakers really they would not get up early enough. Alright, people are readying up. If you have questions, feel free to ask, of course. I'll try to answer them as best as I can. This looks like it's going to start and go. Right, people have received the go. Good luck, guys. Okay, people are started playing. So the way this works, this randomizer is not really open world. We still have to do the acts of the game in the normal order. And in order to progress to the next act, we have to release the main NPC of the current act. So, for example, here the village is completely empty. We're gonna repopulate it by seeding monster layers and releasing people. And we have to free the village chief as well as his house in order to be able to go talk to him. And then we can access Act 2, and so on and so on. So every time we release the main NPC of a village, of an act, and we are able to go talk to him, then we can progress to the next act until the end of the game. However, there's a lot of other things which are required in order to beat the game. Especially, we have to spawn the fun boss, which requires quite a lot of NPCs as well as the red hot items in order to spawn the phoenix. We also need to be able to defeat the final boss, which requires the soul equipment, soul blade, soul armor, and phoenix are required. And also, in order to access the final world of the game, the world of evil, we need all 6 zones. So that's quite a lot of requirements. And I'm not even speaking about all the NPCs which are required in order to get to the places that we need to get to. Because often NPCs are going to make a passage appear, or a house that we need to visit, or a dungeon entrance that needs to be visited as well. So there's a lot of requirements, and they can be pretty much anywhere. So that's the randomizer for you. People have already received the Dream Rod, which is an item which is probably going to be required because a lot of things require it. Dream Rod enables the player to access memories and dreams from some NPCs. There's, I think, 5 uses in total of it in the game, so it might be required. Let's see. First, people are clearing the first act because there's not much else you can do, and apparently they already have the village chief. So it looks like we're looking at an early Act 2 for this race, which is pretty hype. It's often the case, to be honest. It's hype because it's going to be pretty difficult. Getting to Act 2 early with very low level and almost no equipment might lead to some early deaths. So let's see how these runners are going to manage. Alright, wow, there's already quite a lot of village chiefs, because we got the village chief from Act 1, we got the Greenwood Guardian from Act 2, and also the Mermaid Queen from Act 3, so people are going to be able to progress from Act 1 directly to Act 3 if they want to. Even to Act 4, actually. Wow, Bubble Armor is in the Dream Rod location. So Bubble Armor is an item which is in logic in order to access all the locations in the deep sea. Which basically most of the locations in Act 3, St. Els. anything that requires accessing the seabed, you are supposed to need the bubble armor. It seems that Lost Core is a little bit faster so far. It has taken a tiny lead. But that does not mean much, because this is a random. If you guys know how random it is. That's true, Name Faker. No Magic Act 4 would be... it's usually the kind of things that runners don't like to see, but viewers liked, because it's kind of a nightmare. Yeah, Lost Core is fighting against the enemies from this monster lair and taking damage on purpose. Nice, good going. Because he intends to suicide after this. This is the place where you can't make more progress because in order to progress further into this dungeon, players are going to need the water mill and the little bridge. And they have neither of that. So Lost Core is just going to take a death and go talk to the mayor, who gives him the Greenwood Leaf. So Greenwood Leaf will enable people to access all of Act 2, basically. It seals away the Light Shrine and part of Act 2. Act 2 is completely open, apart from the special enemies. Yeah, we'll talk about that later. Let's see what Lost Core chooses to do. It looks like he's not going to do Act 2, he's going to Act 3 already. Why not? That's an interesting play. I can't wait to see what other people do. We have Vevictus, who also has finished the first part of the underground castle. So let's see what he chooses to do. Lost Core has talked to the Mermaid Queen. So Act 4 is technically open, but he could also go to South Erta. And he does not. Apparently he wants to go to Act 4. Wow. That's he wants to go really deep into the game. Let's see how that goes for him. It's a pretty good idea, because if he manages to survive, enemies are going to give him a lot of experience, or a lot of early experience. Yeah, he's getting a lot of early levels. So that's actually a pretty good idea, if you can pull it off. But as he is very low leveled and has just an okay armor, well, he has armor, so that's not too bad, I guess. The enemies hit like a truck. You can see the damage that they do to him. Nice, already level 4. Amazing Toaster is having none of that. He's doing Act 2. So we already see a huge route divergence here. Let's see what runners manage to find. The boy that Amazing Toaster just released is required, because you need that part of Act 4 released in order to go talk to the Mountain King. One of the required NPCs to talk to, eventually. Schnapps is also following on Toaster's steps in Act 2. And Vevictus is doing the same. Okay, so Lost Core is the only player who has chosen a really aggressive route, going through Act 4 already, taking some levels, taking some chances also, but he can do it. He's Lost Core, he's just really good at this game. I have no doubt that he can pull it off. He's getting close to what we call the Hype Ledge. It's going to be in the next screen for Lost Core. There will be 4 chests just next to each other, with a good possibility of them having something nice for you. It's often called the Hype Ledge. And in the meantime, the other 3 runners are struggling with some lag and a lot of difficult enemies to fight early on. Act 2 can be very, very brutal in this randomizer. Let's see if we have a lot of deaths, because at least people have a herb, which is really gonna help. You don't like to see herbs in the late game because you're looking for that last item. Seeing herbs is kind of frustrating, but in early game, when you have to face against difficult enemies and you are really low level, seeing herbs is always a blessing. Vevictus is very, very carefully taking down that that last statue enemy. Toaster's dealing with those very annoying bush enemies. Yeah, I guess Lost Core strategy is really paying off because he's already level 7. He's taking a lot of levels and fighting enemies which are difficult when you're low level, but maybe not much more difficult than the ones of Act 2. So I guess that's a very reasonable choice that Lost Core did. It's a really interesting seed because it has opened up extremely quickly. It's Acts 2, 3, and 4 being opened almost right off the bat, just as they were going out of Act 1. Oh, it looks like Vindictus is going to Act 4 as well. And Kugel has made the choice to go to Act 3 and do South Thirta. So we're going to see. Kugel just died apparently. Alright, Lost Core is getting close to the Hype Ledge, so let's see what those chests have. Emblem C. Lucky Blade, that's pretty good. Gems. Okay. Lucky Blade could be a required item, because not a lot of people know this, but in the regular game it's actually a required item. You need it in order to go to the second part of Act 4, which is called Loon, and the second part of Leno. If you don't have it, the old man guarding the entrance will not let you in. A little piece of trivia. And in the randomizer, we don't know what dungeons are required or not, so it's possible that the Lucky Blade ends up being required or not. We're just gonna see. So from what I can tell, Toaster is the only person who is carrying on with the Act 2 play. While it looks like Lost Core is doing everything he can in Act 4. He's going to the Frozen Lake. Unfortunately, without the mushroom shoes, he will not be able to go any further than that. But he's already got quite a few levels. He got a new sword, which is useful. Hi everybody. Yeah, I'm going to read chat from time to time and answer the question. So this game is the Soul Blazer Randomizer. It randomizes items locations, as well as all the enemies in all the monster layers, and all the NPCs which are released in monster layers. So we don't know where all the NPCs are, and a lot of them are required in order to beat the game. So there's already a lot of divergence in people's routes so far. We have Amazing Toaster, who is the only one who has completely persisted in the Act 2 play. Lost Core is making his way through Act 4 because he chose to do that very, very early. And Kugel, Evictus is also doing Lost Core steps in Act 4. Kugel Schnaps is trying to do South Thirta. South Thirta is really difficult, low level. Especially without magic because of those pesky rock enemies. You lost people's feet? Well, I have them, but I'm not looking at the main SpeedGaming screen, so I'm sorry. I will not be able to... I think, but yeah, I can report that. Report that. All back? Okay, good. Thank you. Looks like Mira is watching as well. Back. Okay, that's great. Fantastic. And now Lost Core has done everything he could in Act 4, and as I said before, he cannot do the next part of Act 4 because he does not have the mushroom shoes in order to pass through the Frozen Lake. So he decided to go to South Thirta, which is the first part of Act 3. Okay, let's... Oh, wow! Nice going. We got the soul armor from Amazing Toaster. The soul armor is required. It's one of the 3 soul items which are indispensable to defeat the final boss. That's a nice find at the start because it's definitely gonna help. Okay, maybe not as nice as the soul blade, but that's still something. Yeah, Toaster is doing some great work in Act 2. We also found Gnome, the snail that you need to talk to in order to finish Act 4. Yes, Steve Space 9. Her percent is a joke. It's a joke because in this game there's a lot of medical herbs, and when you play the randomizer, you will realize that at the end of the game, when you are just looking for the last couple items, you're going to find a lot of herbs that you don't want. So that's just a joke. It's just any percent actually. And Toaster found a pretty nice item. He found the light arrow in the location of the delicious seeds in the water shrine. And he also found the doll Marie. Marie is the main character of Act 5. But it doesn't mean that he will be able to defeat Act 5 just yet, because he needs all the NPCs to lead the way into being able to talk to Marie and being able to talk to Gnome the snail. I enjoy herbs. Herbs are nice at the start of the game because you might have to find to fight difficult enemies with low levels. But they're terribly annoying in the end game. You want to find that freaking soul blade. There's also, so let's talk about the items in this game. We have the 6 stones which are required. Apparently everybody has found one of the 6 stones. You can see that on the trackers. There's also 8 emblems. Emblems, in the normal game, you have to find all you don't need, but it's like a 100% special quest. If you get all 8 emblems, you can talk to a crystal fairy in Act 2 in Greenwood, and she will give you the bell, which enables you to use magic without using gems, spending gems for them. The bell is also a randomized item, so they could find it anywhere. And the 8 emblems are gonna be for some other item. It's sort of the equivalent of the pedestal in Zelda 3. In the link to the last randomizer, if you know about that. It's usually a quite hyped item when the pedestal item turns out to be required. Here as well, if it just so happens that the emblem item is required, it's going to take a lot of work just for that one item. It could be really cool. Cool Schnaps is trying again Act 2 and trying to defeat those terrible disappearing statues. Let's see what people are doing now. He's still going strong into Act 2. He has completed the water shrine. And the great door he got is a required door. You need it to clear the way to Marie and also to the room with Moldo Towns. It's required. So far, nobody has found a stronger sword except for the Lucky Blade. But there's something important you have to know about weapons in this game. Well, there's 8 swords in the game, and apart from the first one, all the swords have a special level requirement to be able to be swung. So when you can equip any sword, even if you don't have the level for it. If you don't have the level, you cannot swing the sword. However, you can still poke with it. You can poke with it in a crab walk. When you press one of the shoulder buttons on the SNES controller, your character will crab walk, so you can strafe from side to side while still facing the same direction. And your character will hold his sword in front of him. That sword actually does damage. However, it does a lot less damage than if you swing the sword. So depending on your level and your attack power, it might be better either to use a strong sword and just poke with it, or use a weaker sword but swing with it. It really depends. It really depends on your level. Usually if you have very, very low level, poking with a strong sword will probably be better. But when your level becomes slightly better and better, it might be best to come back to the first sword so you can swing it with more power. It will end up being better than poking with a better sword, if you see what I mean. It can be kind of complex to optimize stuff in this game. A critical sword, it's also in this game, it's a not required item. The critical sword is pretty special. It actually deals a critical hit every 16 frames. That's how it works. It's not really random, it's just based on every 16th frame. When an attack connects with an enemy on that special frame, then the enemy dies instantly. It doesn't work on bosses, though, but it really kills anything with one hit. So it's a great item if you are a task, but if you're not, it's okay. It's not that great. So there's other swords which could be required and probably will be, or at least in logic. There's also the Zantetsu sword, which lets you kill metal enemies. So if you have to do anything in Act 5, it's very likely that the Zantetsu sword is going to be required. There's also the Spirit Sword, which defeats the ghosts and spirit enemies. Could be required if you have to make any progress in Magritte's castle basement in Act 6. Or if you are unlucky enough to have to kill the suns, I like to call them like that, the flaming ghosts in the Light Shrine of Act 2. Let's see. Apparently some people have already found the Mountain King. Tool shop owner's son also gives you an item. So in the tool shop you get an item from the owner and from her son as well. They both give you an item. You have to go back and talk to them. It's part of the choices that you have to do when you play this randomizer. You will go through a dungeon. You have to remember what NPCs you have released, so you can go back and talk to them when it's appropriate to, because talking to them can give you an item. I think Lost Core is about to get his soul armor. He's doing really well. He's the only one with 2 of the 6 stones so far. He hasn't died also. At least a few of the other people have died. He's going to dash through the enemies a bit quicker than his opponents, also because he has level 11. To having dealt with Act 4 very early. What he did was really, really nice. I think it paid off. It was the right move. And Vivictus is also doing Act 2 after having done Act 4 and having got his Lucky Blade. So as you can see, he's doing pokes, and that does a lot of damage. Yeah, Toaster just released a squirrel. So the squirrel himself is not very important, but the stump next to it is. Because it turns out this stump is also a creature you can talk to. He has a dream, and you can use the dream rod on him, get into his dream, and that leads to an item. He's doing a lair which makes this crystal fairy appear, which in the vanilla game gives you the light arrow, which is the best magic in the game. And here it just gives you a herb. So that's kind of a rip-off. Kind of a rip, I mean. Yeah, when you have an NPC that can't be released yet, you don't have to come back to the lair. He cannot be released because you haven't released some other things which are required for the NPC to fully exist. Like you have the guy, but you don't have his house, so the guy cannot speak to you yet. For example, it's also the case for King Magrid, which is required. You need to also release his castle. If you just have the king, he will appear as a spirit, and you cannot talk to him until you have also freed the castle. But you don't need to go back to the mausoleum. Mausoleum never need to be redone once they have been sealed. Alright, Vivicus is finding Marie on his side. Nobody is able to defeat the scorpions yet. Those scorpions in the Fire Shrine are metal enemies, and you need either the Zantetsu Sword or the Soul Blade to dispatch them. That's why it's pretty nice to have the Zantetsu Sword early, so you can clear all the enemies in the Fire Shrine. Otherwise, it's possible that they might have to go back here later in the game to finish off all the enemies. Because there are some mausoleums and some items which are tied to the metal enemies. There might be a revisit of some places. The bridge guard, and also they have the watermill, which means that now Amazing Toaster could go back to Act 1 and finish the rest of the underground castle, which contains 10 layers, so it's usually a good deal. Usually one of those layers is going to have something required. But who knows? Who knows? Yeah, I would probably do it if I were in his position. Correctly, Lombax, this is the Soul Blazer Randomizer. Soul Blazer was an action RPG released in 1992 on the Super Nintendo. It is the first episode of the infamous Quintet trilogy with Illusion of Gaia and Terranigma. This is the randomized version of it. Randomized means all the enemies have been swapped around. I mean, the enemies in the mausoleums. The effect of mausoleums has been changed also. All the released NPCs have been swapped, reshuffled. And finally, all the item locations have been shuffled as well. So the progression through the game is likely to be very different from what you would have to do in the normal game. It's also possible that the choice of enemies in mausoleums make the game rather difficult or rather easy. It depends on whether you get very difficult enemies early that you have to defeat, or sometimes it can be much easier if you happen to find great equipment right off the bat. Yeah, that's what happens in randomized games. It can be either easy or hard to adapt. The Amazing Toaster could have come back to Acts 1 or done Act 3 and 4, but he chooses to stay in Act 2 and complete all of it. So he will be able to finish the Light Shrine, but he cannot do all the layers in it. There's one chest and one layer that he cannot do, the ones which require to kill the spirit enemies. But he can do most of the rest. And all the rest, I mean. Most of it. And apparently the path to the Light Shrine has paid off because the Toaster has found one of the stones, and those are required. So, not a bad choice so far. Lost Core is currently doing that too. He's dealing with the Fire Shrine, and he will also have to do the choice whether keep going with Act 2 and do the light shrine, or go back to Act 1 and do the underground castle second part. And sometimes players don't want to do the light shrine right away before having the spirit sword or the soul blade, because sometimes you don't want to do a place knowing that you cannot finish all the stuff in it, and knowing that you might have to come back to it later if you have to. So yeah, depending on people's equipment, they might push back some places, or also depends on their playstyles. Some people like to travel a lot and do just bits and pieces of dungeons. Some other people will stick to the full dungeon, even though they cannot fully complete it. Looks like almost everybody is in the fire shrine right now. I think Toso is further ahead in Act 2, but he has done nothing else, I think. He hasn't visited Acts 3 or 4 yet. Also, it looks like Vevictus has... Vevictus is almost as fast as Kugel now. He has almost caught up to him. Oh, and the room that Toaster is doing right now is the dark room in the light shrine. Normally in the game there is an NPC you can talk to, it's a mole. When you talk to him, he gives you his spirit, which lights up the room. It makes a circle of light around you so you can see a little bit. But that is not required in order to clear this room if you know where stuff is, if you know what you're doing. And the Secret Snail has an item. You have to go through a wall to go talk to him in Act 4. Toaster is on his way to fight the second boss of the game. Let's see how he does, because he does not have any special swords. Well, he should have the soul armor, so that's fine. But still, this boss is known as being one of the hardest, if not the hardest, in the main game. I don't know why. Yeah, he should just poke, because he does only 1 damage per hit. He does not have a huge level or a good sword, so he cannot do more than 1 damage at a time. Okay, nice. That's an interesting strategy for this boss. Not the usual speedrun strategy, but whatever. Whatever works. Yeah, he can even stay in the boss and tank the damage because of the armor he has. Without the armor, this would not have worked. And that releases the first model town. That's interesting. I don't know what the other players are going to choose to do. Maybe Lost Core or Vevictus will not do the light shrine right now. There's at least one of the stones on the way to the light shrine. So we know that at least is required. Yeah, let's see what Lost Core chooses to do. He could either leave and do Act 1, do the rest of Act 1, or go on with the light shrine. Let's see. Yeah, he keeps going, okay. That's good. Good for him, because he's gonna get... we know that there's at least one stone required. Oh, Red Hot Stick and the Heartstring. If you watch Toaster, he got the red hot stick, which is one of the red hot items. It's required to trigger the final boss to appear. And the harp string is a fetch quest item. It's likely to be not required, but it leads to another item. So depending on what that item is, it could be required or not. Okay, so yeah, Toso is doing an Act 1 clear of the items. Ice armor, not so great. Soul Blade, pretty great. Okay. Alright, so the Soul Blade is quite a game changer. So coming back to Act 1 before doing the rest of Act 2 would have been better. Because with the Soul Blade, you could totally finish the Light Shrine. And the Fire Shrine, for that matter. Yeah, sometimes coming back for items can be the way to go. And that's what Tosa is choosing to do. He's coming back to the Light Shrine and demonstrating what the big power of the Soul Blade. It's not a bad idea because those enemies are supposed to be very late game enemies. The suns that he's killing. So they give you a massive amount of experience, like 1,100 piece. So that's huge to boost your levels up early on in the game. There's also a spot in the Water Shrine where you can farm killing what's the name? Killing spikes that come out of the floor. They actually count as an enemy you can kill with the Soul Blade, and they are worth, I think, 3,000 points apiece, which is also a great place to farm. You can even farm up to level 24 if you want. Level 24 is required to beat the game. You need to have Soul Blade, Soul Armor, and Phoenix, which is a magic you cast with your sword, with the Soul Blade. And in order to cast it, you need to swing the sword, and for that you need level 24. It's the level requirement of the Soul Blade. Ooh, that's interesting. Yeah, that was the mermaid's house, which gives you access to the seabed in Act 3. Having that and having the bubble armor, they will be able to visit some more places. I don't think they have any of the mermaid statue, so none of the islands is gonna be available yet. Okay, Toaster is killing the suns. Let's see if Sun's lair happens to have anything useful. Nope, no, just a mushroom. Yeah, this mushroom is useless. And I'm curious to see what people are going to do now. Actually, Toso lost score. It's also possible that Evictus and Kugelschnaps could choose to disregard the Light Shrine and go ahead and do the rest of Act 1. Interesting. Also decides to go back to the Fire Shrine and do the few checks which are still there. So he's going to do the scorpions. That is a pretty bold choice because there's a lot of time spent for very few checks. But who knows? I just experienced from this. There's still one item and one lair, which are behind scorpions. So in the logic of the randomizer, you are supposed to have the Zantetsu sword in order to fight these types of enemies, the metal enemies. So the logic does not really care about you having the Soul Blade to do that as well. So what Toso is doing right now is technically out of logic. But who knows, it could pay off. Yeah, it's a very bold idea, I think, to go for this early, especially since it takes a long time to follow all these all the scorpions around. There's 6 of them, and it can be difficult to catch them all, follow them all. It's such a big space, big room. I guess Lost Core is going to go back to Act 1. Yeah, that's what he's going to do. He's going to do the rest of first dungeon. He will collect his soul blade as well. Ooh, Power Bracelet. Not a required item, but a really, really nice item. It basically doubles the attack power of your sword. That also counts for pokes. So now... Unfortunately, it's not a required item. It would be amazing if the choice that Toto is making happens to really pay off. There is just one more layer, which is behind Scorpions. If that layer has something required, then Toto is going to be in a pretty good shape. Because going back to the Fire Shrine and checking this is time-consuming, and people usually delay that up to the end. Queen Abby, the Soul Blade was on the ledge in the bottom right corner of Act 1. You know, behind the ivies. Yeah, the place above the sleepy tulip. That's it. And now, Lost Core has it too, as the Soul Blade. Okay, let's see what is behind the Scorpions, and... just a chest drawers. Unfortunately, that was completely useless. So yeah, Lost Core is probably ahead now. He has just done more stuff. I like to see the game lag, because it was not supposed to handle that many enemies. And yeah, in the game you can actually boost, if you modify the ROM, you can boost the number of enemies of any monster layer up to 255. It's quite cool. Oh, and Tosto is doing what I was mentioning earlier. He is doing the strat where you farm the spikes in the water shrine. Look at him, he is getting a lot of levels. Each spike is worth 3,000 experience points apiece. He's making a massive amount of levels. Having level 24 right now will make him pretty much invincible. He will dispatch anything else in the game super quickly. It's a time investment to do now. It's taking minutes to do that, but it could pay off because his progress will be more rapid in the rest of the game. Lost Core is making progress in the second part of the underground castle. Let's see what he finds. There's 10 layers there, so it's likely that something is going to be required. The sleepy mushroom could be required. It leads to one item and one layer. It's part of the trolley places, which could be required, but I often push back to the very end of the search for the last items. So far, this seed has been quite generous, with very early openings of Acts 3 and 4, as well as Soul Armor and Soul Blade being accessible pretty early on. Not too bad, the seed. It's not too bad to play, but it could turn out that the last few items could be very, very out of the way. That's usually what happens. Seeds are usually good at the start and terrible at the end, or terrible all the way through. It's very rare that a seed is good all the way through. Ooh, Magic Bell, that's the item behind the hungry scroll. Not a required item, but a nice item. But I doubt that players are going to go out of their way for that. Yes, exactly, BT. Yeah, what's a randomizer if there's no pain and suffering? Ooh, King the Grid! Oh, Act 1 is definitely paying off. But yeah, there's no doubt that people are going to do it. Act 1 always has stuff. It's usually a very good investment. So there's King Magrid, but as you could see, he could not be released yet because people haven't found his castle. So castle is also a required NPC. No one in beta. And Toaster is actually doing the grind all the way through level 24. Depending on what people's strats, you could do the grind up to 24 if you want, or what I like to do, and I've tried it, it was pretty effective once, going to level 19. Because 19 is the level requirement of the Spirit Sword. If you find any other sword, if you find the Spirit Sword, you will still be able to swing it and be very strong in the game. And you will get the rest of the levels just by fighting normally. But yeah, you can also choose to go to 24 and be super strong, and not even having to care anymore about experience. Okay, so the Hype Cave in Act 1 just had medical herbs, which is not really what Lost Core wanted to see. I didn't follow what has opened. But I guess all the way to Gnome is now open, so... Okay, Lost Core is going to check the items in Act 2, so the items from the bird apparently is accessible already. And Sleepy Bird, he needs a lot of things in order to be accessible. You need the bird himself, but also the 2 crocodiles and the mole in order to go into the hole where the dog remains are. So let's see what is behind this. A herb, of course. And he can do the stump as well. So yeah, not a bad idea to come back for this. And he does not even need to go to the menu and change his item, because he also needs the Dream Rod. I believe I can fly. Yeah, a lot of the text has been modified in the randomizer to make the experience nicer. This text is kind of slow. So a lot of text has been removed or changed. Purple stone, oh nice. Okay, so that ended up being required. Lost Core is definitely in a very good shape. Let's see what he's gonna do. And he is also going for the Act 2 checks. That's interesting. So he's gonna get his power braces as well. However, he's not gonna save any time, because I believe there were no required items behind or NPCs behind this. So Lost Core is actually technically doing something which is not required. If other players, meaning Cougar Schnaps and Vevictus, don't go for this, they could have an advantage. Maybe Lost Core has a good strategy to efficiently kill the scorpions. Yeah, it looks like he knows what he's doing. Nice. And there we go. He's gonna get his power bracelet. Yeah, I haven't counted all the NPCs. You need quite a lot of NPCs in order to go talk to Gnome, the snail who marks the end of Act 4. You need a lot of NPCs for the way to go to talk to Gnome. So I don't know if They have already released all the required NPCs for that. They might not have. Another interesting thing is, even if they could go to Act 5, they still don't have the Zantetsu sword, so they will not be able to defeat a lot of the enemies in the basement of Act 5, because most of them are metal enemies. Yeah, looks like my streams are okay. Yeah, they're back on. Sorry, my streams are back on. I'm multi-twitching everybody. My limited computer power, I cannot watch everybody in a very good quality. So I'm doing what I can. So who will be the first to go to Act 5? I don't know if they can, though. Right, it looks like Kugel is going to... He's going to the Light Shrine. Victus is still finishing up Act 1. Or yeah, he has done it. He has finished it. Yeah, the number of possible choices is getting much lower now. I don't think they released any of the mermaid statues of Act 3. Act 3 just has like one layer they can do. The last layer of South Erta. And apparently nobody's willing to go to Act 5, so maybe Act 5 is just not accessible yet. Okay, Toaster is going into the seabed. Let's see what he gets there. Yeah, he's going for that one layer. South Erta. Let's see if it has something. Because I believe that there's not many things they can do now. Not many checks left. I don't remember seeing the entrance to Loon open either. And this is... Okay, yeah, this is the deer from the Woodston trio. If you get all 3 NPCs of this trio, they would come for you. One NPC alone is not going to do much. Yeah, Act 3 is not yet the answer. Yeah. Also does not have any of the mermaid statues, so Act 3 does not have anything else that they can do. It looks like Lost Core going to do the same check. He's checking the big house of Act 3, he's going to get contents of this chest. In the meantime, Vivictus is also going for the level 24 strategy, where you use the Soul Blade, you abuse the Soul Blade to get a lot of levels very quickly in the Water Shrine. Okay, Toso is finally going for Act 4, and it's going to be a lot easier for him because he has level 24 and the Soul Blade, so he's all set. He can deal with anything in the game. They're probably just missing one NPC to finish Act 4. I don't know what else could be done. So let's see what Lost Core is going to do. Oh, they have the prison. Maybe they can talk to Lou. Yeah, that's what Lost Core is going for. Yeah, I haven't kept track of everything. And Thundering, okay. Thundering is not going to be helpful. It's supposed to be a required item. Just for one thing, to the metal Donkey Kongs on one of the islands of Act 3. Extremely rare that that item turns out to be required in the randomizer. Usually you can kill those enemies with the Santetsu Sword or the Soul Blade. Okay, let's see what the secret... Santetsu Sword, there he is. Okay, so that puts back the Shrine Scorpions back into logic. Oh, and Lost Core actually can go talk to Gnome, okay. He's also going to do the CP Mushroom because he's right there, so might as well deal with that as well. What are the benefits of level 24? You need level 24 to beat the game. That's why. In order to beat the game, you need the soul equipment, so Soul Blade, Soul Armor, and Phoenix. And in order to be able to cast Phoenix to kill the final boss, you need to be able to swing the Soul Blade. The Soul Blade has a level requirement of level 24. So yeah, swords in this game have a level requirement. For example, for Zantetsu Sword, it's level 16. For the Lucky Blade, it's 15. And for the Soul Blade, it's 24. If you don't have the level requirement, you can still a sword and poke with it, but you cannot swing it. Poking can be very effective. So now Lost Core is the first player to reach Act 5, so he's clearly ahead now. I think he's done pretty much everything else. While Meeting Toaster is doing his high pledge. Act 5 is probably the only things that they have left to check now. No, swords are exactly the same as in the normal game. It's just that their locations is randomized, but the swords themselves behave exactly the same as in the vanilla game. Some of them are probably required. So Lucky Blade is required in order to get into the second part of Act 4. And it may or may not be required to go there. Zantetsu Sword is required to kill metal enemies, and Spirit Sword for spirit enemies. However, you can kill those two types of enemies also with a Soul Blade. So in this seed particularly, those swords are actually not going to be required because they already have Soul Blade. But they are required by logic, so you can know what you're doing. You know that you're doing something which is in logic or out of logic. Make your decisions. Lost Core is finding a lot of things. He has completed the Wood Sins trio, so there's one item he can go back to Act 2 to get. And yeah, he also got something else. Remember. It's a good thing that he found the Zantetsu Sword, because he has only level 16, so he cannot swing the Soul Blade. So killing those metal enemies would have been much harder. Well, not that much harder. I mean, Lost Core is very good, and Soul Blade is still really effective, even if you just poke with it. Would have been harder, but not that much. Yes, I call them metal mice. I'm not sure if they're cars or mice or whatever. Without the ability to swing a sword, that is really bad. Yeah, it's possible that the game is extremely trolly with lots of metal mice layers. Those are just bulldozers, so they're fine. And Lost Core is just tanking the damage because he has the soul armor, so it's not taking too many chances. Okay, Solar Cell. Yeah, possibly. Watching these streams is kind of tiring. And also commentating. My voice is already sore. Hope that's fine. Yeah, I guess when you're a speedrunner, you have to learn to be a good commentator eventually. So I'm getting some practice for that. So who is going to be the first player to join Lost Core into Act 5? So far, nobody else has done everything else. Has done all they could do in Acts 2, 3, and 4. Lost Core is unlocking a lot of locations. He got the mermaid statue for Durian, the volcanic area. So there's quite some things he will be able to go back for. Ryu Seishin, not at all. Her percent is just a joke. We call it that because the game has a lot of herbs, and usually you're not very happy about finding herbs in late game when you are looking for actually useful items. So yeah, it's just a joke. This is just any percent. The objective of the game is to defeat the final boss, but for that you need quite a lot of things. So you need. I'm going to go through all the stuff which is required again. You need the 6 stones in order to access World of Evil, find the world of the game. You also need the 3 red hot items and the Mountain King and his 2 dancing grandmas in order to unlock the final boss and make him appear. And you need the soul equipment, soul blade, soul armor, and phoenix in order to be able to kill the final boss. Yeah, you're very likely to find a lot of herbs on your way. Oh, Lost Core also got another mermaid statue, the one for Esther. I think it's a slightly worse one of all. Because there's just one item and a few layers in Esther. Not as effective in terms of the number of layers and items as the other islands. Yeah, you still need to do almost everything actually. The interest in the rando is that you're likely to have to go through the game in a very different way, but you still have to complete most of it. But depending on the seed, it's possible that several areas can be completely skipped. I've seen seeds where you don't need to do anything in Act 6, for example, or even very few in Act 5. It's possible to skip entire areas. You're lucky. Now Lost Core has completed the placement of Dr. Leo's lab, and he just takes a death to come out of it. Does he have all the required NPCs? Okay, he has the stairs. I think he has the door. Everybody got that already. You can talk to the plants, doesn't have an item, and yeah, he has Marie, but he does not have the stairs leading to Marie. So yeah, it looks like his only options are either this he's doing right now, the model town. It's right there, so I might as well do that. He also has the power plant open and Act 3, 2 islands open. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's really nice when you have the soul blade very early, especially since you can do the technique of grinding for levels in 2 in the water shrine. You can get to a very high level very early on, just to breeze your way through. Yeah, seeds can range from very easy to very hard, depending on where items are. I've seen some poor people who still had the first armor, and the first sword and no armor up to Act 5 and stuff. It made things really, really hard. Yeah, it's possible that it's super hard. Yeah, usually what happens is that you're going to be forced to go to Act 2 early, and without armor and without a good sword. And Act 2 early is usually difficult because of the enemies that you face there. A lot of enemies are very annoying in Act 2. I don't think anybody has joined the Act 5 fun yet. Yeah, so Lost Core is definitely quite some time ahead. Yeah, that was pretty expected. This is just really good. Yeah, the disappearing statues, the bushes, even the big flowers which release butterflies, are also very annoying. And when you have a combination of all three in the same screen, it lags like hell. It lags so much that you can't even use magic. That can happen. If you're wondering what Lost Core is fighting right now, he's fighting invisible siege machines. War machines. There's two types of war machines in the model towns, and they're invisible. In the game, there is a door you can speak to, who will give you the ability to see those enemies. It's not required to beat them. So the good players can disregard that. We have already hit the 1 hour mark. I did not even notice. Time flies. I wonder if this could be a sub 2 seed for Lost Core. He already has 4 out of the 6 stones, and he's looking pretty good. You'll be grabbing the door. Well, if the door is there, it's actually on your way to the model towns. If I have the door available, I'll actually go talk to it too, because might as well. It makes things really easier if you can see the invisible enemies. So light armor, 50 gems. Some nice items, but nothing required so far in Hollow Town. Shiable, it's Lost Core. He's clearly quite some time ahead. But now Kugelschnaps is also in Act 5. I don't think he has done the basement yet. Yeah, it looks like he does not have the Zantetsu sword. Maybe that's why he's not going for the metal enemies right now. Okay, that cat that Lost Core got has an item. Could be required. Genesis Strand, this is for Super Nintendo. It is the randomized version of Soul Blazer, an action RPG released in 1992 by Enix on the Super Nintendo. It's the first episode of the infamous trilogy of episodes from Quintet, the other ones being Illusion of Gaia and Terranigma. Maybe those two are a bit more well known than Soul Blazer is. They all three of them are great games. If you like old school action RPGs, they really stand up there amongst the best, in my opinion. Hey, Jenna. And looks like Toaster has gone to Act 5 and he's doing the power plant right away. That's good because he found the blue stone there. Usually the power plant is one of the places people don't like to do. It turns out to have a required item, so that's interesting. Let's see if Lost Core goes for it or not. He might hold it for later. It could give some other players an advantage. Oh no, he's going for it. Trap. I hope that he would not go for it. Well, it looks like he does not really have a choice because he cannot go to Act 6 yet, and his other choices are in Act 3, which are not very attractive either. So yeah, he has to bite the bullet and do something kind of lame. He's going after those enemies. He's getting his glowstone. He's following Bosa's steps into the power plant. Bosa is getting close to the boss. Yeah, the boss is going to be really easy with the soul equipment. Level 24, especially. No need to go to the teleporter and heal. You could swing it, you know? Does not know. Yeah, he should swing the sword. It does a lot more damage. Lost Core is low on health. Oh, good level up. That's gonna help. Yeah, he got a squirrel. This squirrel has an item. It could be required. Hey, this power plant has a lot of stuff. Usually power plant is one of the places that we hold off for a long time. But yeah, these runners have been smart enough to go check it right away. Yeah, it looks like they still don't have access to Act 6 because they are missing that those stairs in order to go talk to Marie. So now Toaster is going to do the basement. And let's see what Lost Core chooses to do. He will probably go back to Act 3 because he has opened Lester and Durian. You can do either of those. Looking for layers and items. In terms of layers, at the very minimum, we are missing the stairs leading to Marie and the castle for King Magritte, at the very least. But depending on where those turn out to be, it's possible that we might require other NPCs, especially dungeon entrances. The entrance to the left tower, the right tower, or the other model town. There's still quite a lot of fun to be had. We have yet to fight that. Oh, really? To fight them? Yeah, well, yeah, as I said, the power plant is kind of an unusual place. It's only 2 enemies, 2 layers, and it's quite time-consuming. It's one of the places people are not gonna be doing right away. They would do that when it's one of the last options. Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. Loon is opened. So yeah. Yeah, Lost Core is right, so that's what you should do. It's probably better than the Act 3 stuff. Not about that. Genastran, no. Yeah, we really have to change this name, but yeah, 100% is just a joke. It's just any percent. 100% because this game has a lot of herbs, and usually in late game when you are looking for the very last items, you are usually trolled by a lot of herbs. That's why we call it 100%. That's the only reason. red hot wall. Okay, good call from Lost Core. He's already found a required item. So Loon is already required. I think so far Lost Core has done everything that we've seen to be required. So he's definitely quite in the lead. Yeah, maybe we should change the title. I'm not the one who came up with it, to be honest. Yeah, Lost Core is doing something pretty strange. He left behind one of the layers. Maybe he wants to clear all the enemies before going back for layers. Here you can see that he's pressing against the wall, or rather the lake. Because when you press against a surface like this, you change the location of the center of rotation of your magician's orb. So there you could see that usually the orb circles around the hero, but if you are walking against a solid surface or wall, then you can send the circling orb further away from you. And it can be really interesting to do. It can be a good technique in order to hit distant enemies. That's what Lost Core just did. Yeah, I think he's probably the best now. Honestly, Lost Core is doing some crazy stuff. He's done a lot. He's put in a lot of work in this. Yes, Ryu. If you're looking at Amazing Toaster's HP bar, yeah, he has level 24, so he has a lot of health. And the color of your health changes when you have more health than what is actually drawn on the screen. That's why when he was at full health, you could see that his HP was a little bit more light blue than it usually is. He has more health than what fits on the screen. Part of the lore of the game. Okay, I'm glad you like it then. Yeah, Neta is the organizer of this tournament. He's the one who came up with it. So shoutouts to him. Yeah, shoutouts to Neta Anonima. He's one of the biggest enthusiasts of this randomizer. He is the one who organized this tournament, as well as the previous one we did last year. 2 years ago. 2 years ago or last year? I don't remember. Yeah, the maximum level you can reach in this game is 50, and your bar is completely white. It goes through all the colors. It's to green, then yellow, then white. The cool thing about what Lost Core is doing right now, he can complete Loon because he has already done the dream of the sleepy mushroom. So he got Big Pearl from the mushrooms item. Big Pearl could be required because it's you need it to open the Hype Cave, Act 3, and Hype Cave has 4 chests. It's unlikely to have anything good though, but yeah, sometimes the Hype Cave can be hype. Thanks you, Ryu. Yeah, someday I'm gonna have to make this rando evolve a bit. It's still stayed the same since 2018. Yeah, I wanted to implement an open world in it because that's still not it. And I have a lot of other ideas of evolutions for this. Hopefully, I will be able to get around and work on that sometime. Kugelschnaps is fighting the boss, so he has also visited Power Plant, so that's good. He's not gonna miss on that. He did not miss his bluestone. In the meantime, Lost Core is making his way through all the disappearing magicians of Loon. very, very annoying. If you really don't want to come too close to them because they would disappear and reappear, and you have to wait for that. So it's a waste of time. It's kind of difficult to deal with correctly. Interesting. Oscar just got the stairs leading to the old man's house. I don't believe he has Leo's brush. Yeah, that's quite unusual, because apparently players still don't have access to Leo's paintings, the final part of Act 1. It's still not open yet. That's unusual. Okay, so it turns out I don't think Lost Core has found the stairs that he wants to complete Act 5, so now Act 3 is the only option he has. So he's talking to all his mermaid statues, opening up all the places. So he has everything except for the ghost ship. He has Blaster, Rockbird, and Durian. Let's see what he chooses to do first. Oh, Leo's brush was in the mermaid shop. Nice. And the mermaid shop is very easy to forget about. There it is. It might be required. Yeah, it's a whole dungeon. I'm not sure if they had the old man's house, but I don't remember seeing it. Cooler Snaps is doing the last part of Act 4, following in Lost Core's footsteps. Oh yes, I just saw Veritas released the old man's house, so it is available. So Lost Core has access to it, and he decides to go for it. Okay. Yeah, he does not want to do anything in Act 3 because Act 3 kind of sucks. Act 1 is usually better. I don't know if it's gonna pay off. Yeah, it already is paying off. The shield bracelet, but the brownstone. So now he has all the stones. Things are getting interesting. So we have all the stones. We're just missing the Phoenix and Red Hot Mirror, as far as items go. At the very least. It's still possible that the mushroom shoes are going to be required. We still don't know that. So now it's going to be a race to get the final NPC to get to Act 6. Because people still can't get into Act 6. They need the stairs to go to Marie. So is it going to be in Leo's painting? Let's see. It could very well be in one of the Act 3 locations. I think that even if there's nothing here, Lost Core is still probably going to be ahead. Because he's ahead by quite a lot. He's the first one to have found all the stones. The blue orb flying around is not Navi. Oh dear god, no. Low Volt 1. Okay, I haven't really been following Lost Score, but I don't think he found anything useful here. Yeah, usually anything in Act 1 has got to be useful, because it's very close to the beginning of the game, but here it turned out that this location, the Neus painting, was opened very late into the seed, so it might have absolutely nothing. That's possible. Yeah, he's doing really quick work of these enemies though. And nothing too useful then. Ah, he's now coming back for that last... That's weird. Okay. Oh, okay. Well, the first dancing grandma. So that's required. Alright, so Lost Score is not doing that for nothing. He's found something required here. Got a mole. So this mole also has an item. You have to lead him, her actually, her home. And he gives you something. Oh, not a mermaid with an item. That's the mermaid who gives you a magic flare in the normal game. And the crocodile leading to the deer gives you access to the pedestal, or so to speak. They don't have the deer yet. So far, we don't know that. We don't know if the emblems are useful. They probably won't be, but who knows? It'll be really hype if they are. Great if at least one of the matches in this tournament end up being a pedestal seed. And the Red Hot Mermaid. She's called like this because she gives you the red hot stick in the vanilla game. Wow, you could. That was really smart from Lost Core. He has changed his armor into the bubble armor. That means that he intends to go back to Act 3. He has changed his sword and his armor in one menu. Saved so much time. He's very smart. Because he hasn't found the stairs that he wanted, so it's very likely that he will have to visit Act 3. Oh, and there's the deer. Okay. If he wanted, he could go back to Act 2 and check what the pedestal has. Yeah, if you talk to the deer, he tells you what the item is. There's still no stairs. But at least one required thing. Grandma. It did not do that for nothing, at least. Yeah, he's gonna do the rest of the Act 2 checks, because there's quite a lot of stuff. I don't think he has seen the squirrel in the tree. Squirrel next to the one. Activity leaf, okay. Yeah, that's also a fetch quest item. It's actually the catnip. And the catnip is used to make the cats go away in Leo's lab. Right, Monmo has Emblem Gene, okay. Gen Strand, it can be less than 2 hours on really good seeds. Up to like 2:45, maybe 3 hours for very bad seeds. And also depending on player level. Goat's food. That's the items. That's the item behind the emblems. Okay. Goat food is never a required item. Its only use is to feed one of the gourmet goats in Act 1. And if you do so, he tells you where one of the soul items is. And it's chosen randomly which one. Well, I don't think they're gonna go back to get all the eight emblems just for that. Ghost food is kind of a silly item to have as a pedestal reward. Did Lost Core speak to the Red Mermaid? I don't think he did. Or maybe I didn't see it. So yeah, Lost Core is now doing the Act 3 checks. He has to. Looking for that a great castle and for the stairs leading to Marie. Okay, he does not do Blester first. Yeah, Blester I think has a lower density of layers. Blester there's just one item and a few layers. I think like 5 layers or so. Okay, he goes Durian first. Not bad. Yeah, Durian and Rockbird both are pretty good. I believe. I think they're like equally good. It's a matter of preference. Has Kugelschnaps done Lisa? His stream keeps freezing for me, but yeah, it looks like Kugelschnaps is doing Lisa. He's doing the Lisa fetch quest. TV, it is the dankest percent. Yeah, pretty much. Well, it's the only percent for Randomizer. Just beat the game. Oh, he got a great door. The locked door. I mean, Kugelschnaps, he got the locked door. Lisa layer. And the chest has. I couldn't see it. I didn't see what the chest had. That's unfortunate. Now it's just a matter of being lucky and finding the correct layers, because we still have a lot of places to check and fewer items and layers to find. Schnapps is taking his sweet time to suicide. I'm not even sure it's actually a good idea to suicide that slowly. Versus just coming out of the dungeon. A magic armor from Lisa's chest, okay. Not a required item, and well, really gonna help them now. Solid play though, because yeah, Lisa is one of the most hated locations. Because you have to go through the dream, open the gate, and then redo a part of go to the end of the dungeon again, just for one layer and one chest. So it's something that people usually push back until the very end. Okay, one of the snails. They're completely useless. Okay, I just saw from Kugelschnaps the other squirrel just had a bit of a... So far it looks like Lost Core hasn't missed anything that any other players got. Yeah, that's a nice way to put it, Snape Faker, indeed. Left side swamp. She's just like an out of the way location. Maybe like catfish. It's also like the power plant. The power plant is also very bad. Yeah, in this seed it turns out to be required because of one of the stones. Yeah, Mimic Cave. Chest of Rolls. So Lisa could still be required because we saw that the lair behind Lisa was at the door that leads to this chest of drawers. You know, that locked door in Leo's lab. So we maybe Uber Schnaps has done the right move. Who knows? It's unlikely, of course, but case. Right, I didn't check on Lost Core too much, but he's still going into Act 3, so it's like he hasn't found anything useful in Durian. $5K on eBay! Well, Soul Blazer is hard to come by, at least in its Western versions. Because the Japanese version is much easier to find. Just get it for $10. I know a friend who did at least. But yeah, the European and the US versions are much more valuable. Yeah, still $55 unused. Okay, so Toaster is also opening up locations in Act 3. Let's see which one he decides to check first. Because apparently Julian was a bust. If the other players skip Julian, they could make some time back. Yeah, Jenna, you could go for that. Well, if you're fine with the text being in Japanese, yeah, the Japanese version is usually much cheaper. You can see Lost Core is making a great use of Light Arrow. Light Arrow is just so efficient. Kind of a shame that in the normal game it's the second magic that you get, because it's by far the best one. All the other ones are pretty good, and with the randomizer you learn how to use them. Well, no, they're not all good, but Rotator is good, Flame Pillar is good, Magic Flare is good, it's fine. Spark Bomb is kind of bad. The Tornado is really terrible. Oh, Red Hot Mirror, okay. Alright. MMO's Ribbon, which also could lead to an item. It's a fetch quest item. But just the Red Hot Mirror alone, that makes Rockbird a requirement. Tornado is amazing, is it? Well, yeah, Tornado can be good if you just place the Magician's Orb right on the enemy, because you know that the Tornado is going to be spawning there. But after the Tornado is released, it goes where it wants to go. It's completely random. And we have a Blaster check from Amazing Toaster. Yeah, wow. Lost Core got the other Grandma. So, yep, here you go. Looks like the right choice was Rockbird. Blaster has something. because Lost Core still does not have any direct progression. Yeah, he could check the item from the Mountain King. Now, I'm not sure if he has full access, but it looks like he has. He has the Mountain King, he has both dancing grandmas, and the 3 red hot items. So he could at least get the item from the Mountain King. If that item turns out to be the mushroom shoes, then he would have another place to visit. Oh, there it is. Okay, he got the steps. Rockbird really has everything. So I saw that Toaster found the Spirit Sword in Blesser, but it might turn out to be completely useless. Even though it's usually a really fine item, here we find it too late for it to be useful. Well, we don't know. And also, people have the Soul Blade, so it's not as relevant now. Okay, he can go to Act 6, so I guess he's going to go to the right tower, because he just got it, and the right tower is usually really good. In terms of requirements, he needs Phoenix and the castle, and that is it. So maybe he's going to be really lucky, and the Mountain King is going to give him Phoenix. That's possible. Dancing Grandma's hype! You can dance if you want. There we go. And he got the recovery sword. Okay. Well, not a bad sword. Oh, did he? When did he get it? I don't remember seeing it. So yeah, if he does have it, then he's only missing Phoenix. Thanks for telling me. You guys should be commentating instead of it. Also, yeah, Phoenix is the only thing that he's missing then. So he's probably gonna check where most items are. I don't know if Hype Cave is available. No, yeah, Hype Cave is not available because he doesn't have access to Ghost Ship. So yeah, the right tower is probably going to be his choice. Yeah, he has Magritte. Everybody found Magritte, King Magritte at some point. It would be amazing if Phoenix turned out to be in that in the cupboard in the locked room. As far as I know, Kugelschnaps is the only one who has done the Lisa thing. So that would be super trolly. What is it to check World of Evil Act 6? Yeah, World of Evil, it is yeah, it's actually really good. Yeah, he's only looking for an item, so I would say Act 7 is actually probably the best option. It might beat it might beat doing the right tower, or for item density at least. Yeah, that's true. I forgot that he has all the stones. We are also commentating this race in French if you want to head over to SpeedGaming Français if you are a French speaker. Because it turns out that quite a few people of this community are French speakers. And over there they have actually 2 commentators, not just me. Yeah, if you don't speak French, you're going to have to be stuck with just me. I'm sorry about that. Alright, so that's the choice that Lost Core is making. He's going for Act 7. So Genestron, you might want to go check out SpeedGaming Français. They are restreaming this same race that's commentating with 2 people People commentating in French. Ah, so you are Québécois? Right. Okay, so Lost Core is now going to open up all the chests looking for his Phoenix. So now it's just a matter of time until he finds it. Ooh, nice. He actually switched to a different magic. He's using Magic Flare to kill those demons more quickly. That's a nice idea. Also making a lot of experience. Mobile key. Okay, the mobile key makes you access Act 6 boss. And he has the right tower and the key, so he could go fight this Act 6 boss, but it's very, very unlikely to be required. Now, with all the locations which are open for Lost Core, it's probable, it's very likely that you will be able to find Phoenix without having to go to open up a new dungeon. I think that the second model town is still not opened. It would be really terrible if they had to open a new location just for that. Could happen. Oh, yeah, indeed. Sorry, I'm gonna look about that. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, there's still lots. Oh, no. Sorry, I just saw Lost Core got Phoenix in the vanilla Soul Armor location. So now I don't think it's anyone's game. So there's just one thing left to do for Lost Core. Wow, so Act 6 was completely useless. There was really nothing in Act 6 at all. Yeah. All Lost Core has to do is level up to level 24 and finish the game. Because he has done everything else. So yeah, this is going to be a very clear sub 2 seed for him. Nice. Sub 2 is kind of rare. It's quite an achievement. Yeah, he's going in with 388,000 experience points. He's counting on the rest of the enemies to make up the rest of the points. Interesting. He's using his recovery sword. Yeah, you could say that, Seamarocks. I think Phoenix is required. There's no other way to damage the final boss and cast Phoenixes at him. So yeah, Lost Core has made pretty much all the correct choices, except for Jorian. Yeah, there was no way he could have known. Going into Act 7 early was the right choice. Let's see if he manages to beat the final boss in just 12 cycles, because it's the lowest amount of cycles possible. It's not shown on the screen, but Death Toll has 100 HP, and at most you can damage him of 9. You can do that 9 damage in one cycle. The best is to cast just 5 Phoenixes. There's no need to cast any more than that, because it would make the game lag for no reason. Yeah, you need level 24. That's why Lost Core was grinding on those rotating cubes earlier. He calculated the amount of experience that he needs. Oh, and as the game is called Soul Blazer, the amount of experience points needed for level 24 is 420,000. Yeah, that's true. Ice Rod on Laser Bridge. Yeah. See what the other players choose to do. Perhaps, I mean, immediately Toaster could also go for Act 7. Let's see what he chooses to do. And Lost Core wins this race with a 149. That was quite a breeze, quite a run. And he's a fantastic competitor of this. He's definitely one of the best players of Soul Blazer and of the Rando. So make sure to give him a follow. It's really that incredible. I think he also has, or at least has had, the world record of 11 exits in Super Mario World. He's also speedrunning Octopath Traveler. So he's a talented and experienced player in the speedrunning world. Hey, Lost Score. Looks like you're here.
Hey, Hulk.
Hey, how are you? So GG, congratulations. That was a really fantastic playthrough, fantastic run of this. You made pretty much all the right choices, I think. Except for Jorian, but you could have known. Going to Act 7 early on was the right move. You were just missing Phoenix. So it was a good call. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. It was a really good seed.
Yeah, it's like it was. You had Act 3 and 4 opened right away. So yeah, I guess going to Act 4 was a really good, really efficient way to make up levels and get some early good items.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that play. Getting the World 4s, you get those levels that I bet I didn't struggle nearly as much as the other runners probably did on World 2 with the statues.
Yes, most of them decided to go to Act 2 and stuck to it. I think Vevictus did a bit of Act 2, then went to Act 4, so he was following you, basically. Alright, so, well, I guess it was a pretty easy win for you. You're just so good at this randomizer, but yeah, congratulations. It's great to see a lot of good competition.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'll see you on the final.
Oh, yeah. Or maybe not me, but we'll see.
Well, yeah.
If I'm not playing, I will be there to commentate or at least to watch you. Wish you good luck in the final, and we are going to, well, see who will be there with you in the final, because the second place runner in this race will also be in the final.
Yeah, true. I have to scope out the competition.
Okay, so do you have anything else to say, or should I go on commentating the rest of the race?
Sure, go on commentating the rest. All I'm going to say is I'm tired.
Oh yeah, so yeah, get some sleep then. Okie dokie, GG. Alrighty, so we have 3 other runners, and the second place runner will join Lost Core in the final. So yeah, there's not really a bracket, because there's only 10 people in total in this tournament. We have 4 people now. Then there's going to be 2 matches of 3 people. The first 2 players of this match will join the final, as well as the first place runners of the next 2 matches. And yes, Kugel is doing well. He's also visiting Wall Hero right now. Just missing Phoenix. Yeah, he probably is. He has all the stone, all the red hot items. Yeah, so he's likely to be the second place runner. So let me check out my notes, because I don't know if all the people I have presented them. I have just a bit of information about them. Snaps is a player from the US he also plays a Risk of Rain 2. Low score, I already presented him. The US runner, very proficient at Mario World, Octopath Traveler, and of course Soul Blazer. Vivictus, man coming from Brazil. He speedruns some SNES stuff. He likes Sky Blazer and Demon's Crest just as much as I do. Amazing Toaster is another US runner. He likes randos. There's other ones of the two: Dragon Warrior, Soul Blazer. There you go. You might want to give all those gentlemen a follow. They're all fantastic people, and working very hard for your enjoyment, to bring you some quality speedrunning content. So we see that Amazing Toaster is unfortunately going into Act 6. Now that we know it's useless, he's just wasting his time there. Yeah, it barely matters, because Cougar Straps is probably about to take the second place in this race. Oh, Google Snaps took a death. He was smart enough to use a bottle just before his death, so that he does not lose his gems. Yeah, that's the thing I did not really discuss. You have to using magic consumes gems in this game. Whenever you die, you lose all your gems, except if you had a strange bottle equipped just before dying. Or the magic bell. Turns out that it also has that effect. I think Vivictus is doing Lisa. Yeah. Unfortunately, I really wished that Lisa would be required, because she gave the locked door, which leads to 2 items. It would have been amazing if the Phoenix had been one of those items, but nope. And it was quite unlikely to be the case. And there, Google Snaps just got his Phoenix, so I think he's he also has made the final boss appear, right? So he's on his way to complete this game. I don't know where Vivictus is standing. Does he have access to Act 6? I'm not sure if he visited Rockbird already. He's about to do that, I think. Yeah, he's opening up all the places. In the meantime, Cooler Schnaps is doing his grind. He has 1 HP. He has 1 HP. For the grind. Okay, he's done it. He's gonna counter the rest of the enemies to finish the grind. I wonder why Kugel is still checking chests, because he doesn't need to, does he? Or maybe the chest happens to be right there. The only item that could still help him, yes, it would be the super bracelet. Yeah. The chest is right there. If it happens to have the super bracelet, why not? And make the final boss easier. Should spend more time grinding. He's not going to have enough experience from the demons here. Yeah, I heard. Yeah, his stream is really stuttering for me, so I have a hard time following what he's doing. I'm sorry. He's going to complete the grind to level 24, and after that he's probably going to be going for the boss. He's being really careful because everything hits like a truck here. So yeah, if you're not confident with the final boss and with the items you have, you might want to open up the teleporter just in case you die. You can come back here quickly. Oh, it looks like Vevictus is still missing some stuff. He hasn't visited. He hasn't done those paintings yet. Yeah, this is a bit cruel, but we're looking at Amazing Toaster clearing entire areas where we know that it's completely useless. But yeah, that's Randomizer for you. Okay, so Kugel is facing the final boss. Let's wish him luck. Sure where the other two players are really placed. I think Vevictus might be late a little bit. He doesn't have access to Act 6 yet. But he might do the right choice. He might go for World of Evil before Amazing Toaster does. So who knows? He's still not out of the race yet. The race for third place. Unfortunately, it looks like Kugel has died. Yeah, setting up the teleporter was a good call for him. He does not have the magic bell. He did not go to Jurian. So yeah, he could not prevent losing all his gems. It's not such a big deal, but it's gonna make the second phase of the fight significantly harder, because now he has to farm a little bit for the gems. Those flames, they drop gems. 5 gems apiece, so he has to collect the gems in order to be able to do anything in this fight. Does he not know that he can poke at the flames? It's a shame that he does not know that. Okay, now he's doing it. I just realized. Or he did. I forgot, I don't know. Yeah, poking them is just as efficient in order to kill them, and you don't waste your magic. So, yeah, that's the strategy. Usually you face up and you poke at the flames. That's what people usually do for this fight. Oh, I just realized Toaster could not go to World of Evil because he's missing one of the stones. Ah, he has not done Leo's painting. Oh, so in that case, he's probably behind Victus. I haven't kept track of what everybody has done. Yeah, there was some required stuff. I think there was. What is Kugel doing? Maybe getting another herb. Okay, why not? If you're not confident with doing the fight herbless, yeah, you might go for that. Fortunately, this game has strategies, so any level player can adapt. That's why there's a lot of herbs in this game. And a lot of places, a lot of NPCs will not really check whether you have the item or you already have picked up the item. So if you don't have, if they are supposed to give you a herb and you have already got that herb before, they would just give you the herb again. They don't check. A lot of NPCs don't check if they have given the herb to you already or not. Vivictus has all the stones, so when he gets to Act 6, he will be able to go to Act 7 right away. Did he freeze? Let me check. He's running for me. Yeah. Let me contact the person taking care of the stream. Let me see on my end. Yeah, he's still doing the fight against Death Toll. So I've warned the person taking care of the restream. He's using his herb. He has used his herb. He's back to using. He's actually doing using the shield bracelet instead of the power bracelet that he has. He prefers the defensive strategy. I'm sorry, you guys can't see it. Still fighting the final boss. In the meantime,